How much revenue do you reckon you've grossed at Caroline?
Plus 10 mil. Easily plus 10 mil. Easily. I'm not gonna, go look to banks and so on and so forth. And now I look back on it, again, I'm like, and now I know what I know in music, and I've seen entrepreneurs from maybe different demographics achieve far less, but, gain way more capital investment, and they're in a position to scale. It does kind of make me aware how underinvested entrepreneurs from our communities actually are. And if we were maybe empowered, all of us, like our earlier rungs in the food chain, what would we really be achieving? Do you know? And sometimes when we look at our American counterparts, that's literally what the difference is. Like, someone's actually been prepared to take a punt on entrepreneurs there, where here, it's, the stats for entrepreneurship investment in in ethnic minorities and women is just shocking in the UK. So we won't even go into that. But going back to, I guess, the decision, so I've had a meeting with ADA, had a meeting with the Orchard. The meeting with the ADA was really, really good, actually. But again, they went in the back catalogue from Ditto, and I'm like, Orchard were asking me for all sorts of statements, and at the time I was a bit arrogant, and I was like, no, this is what we've achieved. Yeah, I ain't sending no statements, do you know what I mean? So then I spoke to Adele, and Adele was like, Kwabs, I can introduce you to someone called Colin. And I was like, I recognize the name Colin, because he'd done something, he was from around the way in the ends, but I didn't know he was working at Caroline. So I got the introduction to Colin at Caroline, and I think it was me and my youngest brother had gone and linked him. And yeah, from there we just never looked back. And even at Caroline,
what year was this then?
We've done a deal with Caroline. It must have been 2018. 2018. And now, and this is what I'm saying. Now you gotta remember, we've done this SL Gentleman. That's done a mad thing, right? We've given proof of concept. What we've done with Honcho's 48-hour EP, done a mad thing. We've put out the 10/11 Next Up freestyle. That's done a mad thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not enough proof of concept to say, let's really back these guys. So, and I feel like other demographics, they definitely would have had some interesting, now I look back on it, they would have had doors open, but everything happens for a reason.
With less as well.
Say that again?
With less stats.
Yeah, achieve less, it would have got way more. And I say the same way when I even look at yourself. I'm aware of your CV and what you've accomplished, and I'm just like, wait, hold on. Amory has done all of this over a decade, and people that don't look like Amory have done far less, and they've received way more. No one's bitter about it, but it's a lesson that we all have to learn from and ensure that the next generation will suffer from that as well. So we ended up at Caroline, and Colin, I think we was at, Caroline, even when he transitioned to Virgin, and I guess what I learned from Colin was, in my head, the equivalent of an MBA. Do you know what I mean? Because he would literally kind of like always, I think Michael would the way Michael spoke to me in that Caroline building, it's almost like, Kwabs, you're running a business. Let me know what you got planned for the quarter. They helped kind of raise my business acumen in many respects. Do you know what I mean? So 2018, when we walked through that Caroline door, the advance weren't nothing crazy now I look back on it, but the level of learning and experience that I got, do you know what I mean? Like, I think Colin introduced me to characters like Andrew Cronfield, anyone be that come from the US, it's like, Kwabs, go meet them, So now, this has been this is like my music MBA, like I'm learning loads, do you know what I mean? But at Caroline, we're putting up crazy numbers, do you know what I mean? So I think shortly after, I think DBE come through, and then, yeah, it just starts to kind of, the artists that are coming through Caroline start to kind of trickle through a lot more. But again, we're moving invisible. Like, people aren't really knowing, like, right, they're putting out this tape, they're putting out that tape, and so on and so forth.
Was that purpose? Because, bro, even the things
Yeah. When you go on the PNC lines, there's albums that were number 3 in the album charts for certain rappers, right? It doesn't say Mixtape Madness there. It will say the name of their crew. It will say the name of their gang. SL, we put our logo on there. After that, I didn't even want the logo on there. Why? I'm like, let these, because
You do the Africa man thing.
No, people buy into the artists. They're not here to buy into me. One thing, I liked Island Records, but I was like, why is your logo all over Honcho's stuff? Like,
because it's all you basically.
Yeah, like you're meant to people are here to buy into the artists. They're not here to kind of buy into your record label. And also I looked at it like Mixtape Madness, no offense, but we already had a brand. Do you understand? So I get the record labels maybe on their socials, they're trying to connect with the young generation. We're already connected. So we're like, our job is to make the artists look independent as hell. So everyone thinks this artist done it all by themselves, and that's half the job done. Because then people are buying into you more, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's just loads of projects where when we're off camera, I'll log in, you go through the Virgin's accounts, and you'll see like, rah, that project came out through Mixtape Madness, and you'll be like, rah. So there's platinum records, gold records, silver records, all there where you're like...
Bro, how much revenue do you reckon you've grossed at Caroline?
I think Caroline Virgin, no word of a lie, when I'm looking at there was one day when I was just bored, I was looking at like loads of the contract deals that I've brokered for various different, not Mixtape Madness or artists and so on and so forth. And I'm looking at the revenue that's been generated, and it's plus 10 mil. Easily plus 10 mil. Easily. Do you know what I mean? That's me being conservative.
Do you deep that is abnormal from where you started to be able to do it? And plus, and I'll just give a bit of context. There's a few guys in the industry who have done things, maybe not to that level, maybe some to that level, but again, like the way that they're heralded for doing such things is way different.
Do you know what it is? The reason why I look at it as mad is because I'm telling myself, I came into that building and the first advance I got from there is less than 1% of that number that I've just told you, right? So I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, no, 6 years. And that's another thing, yeah. Ask anyone in that Caroline or Virgin building, has Kwabs ever taken an advance from this building and not made that money back plus? No one can ever say Kwabs, there's nothing unrecouped against my name in those buildings. Do you know what I mean? So that's to even further validate the point that I'm making. And then there's artists where even after I might have been working with them, I've done and gone brokered 7, and I'm not even including that in the 10 mil figure. There's artists where I've gone and brokered 7-figure deals for them, deal packages north of $500,000 and so on and so forth. And I'm not even in my head looking at like what would that revenue look like if I added it to this as well.
No, let's what do you reckon it would be? So 10 mil, that's...
I don't know. So I'm saying, I don't know, because obviously those deals I'm saying, they wouldn't have necessarily all gone through Caroline or Virgin, so they might have gone to other majors and so on and so forth. But in total, I haven't even done the maths on that. But
you've been across.
If I do the maths on that, then I'll go tell my wife, then where she might divorce me. So, yeah. And I look at, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I think we can't be sometimes we're martyrs too much. And maybe I look back on it as like, did I undervalue myself in certain parts of this equation or ecosystem? And then it's my job to kind of make sure the next gen don't undervalue themselves and they get what they're worth without overpricing themselves.
But then how, okay, cool. So look, and people hear 10 million right, it's a lot, but if things work, and like you're saying, that having that P&L is really important. Because that's business to be like, okay, cool. If we give you this, what are we going to get back? Some people do look at just how much can I take off the top.
Yeah, no, it's important because that's also tells you where the market is at the moment. Like you said, there's a period where, like I said, DSP'S are flying. That genre of music is really working and it's popping off. Then there's a time where it's like, rah, I'm giving out the same advances to artists, but I'm not getting the same ROI. I'm starting to make quite a few losses here. Like, what's going on? And then you've kind of got to, but when you're seeing that, artists are not seeing that. So they still believe like, no, I heard my man got this, I deserve this, And then that's where it's like we get into a position where maybe we're outpricing ourselves of opportunities to kind of grow our career. And so I think it's very important that someone in your team understands what's happening on a macro level in the market. Does that make sense? and can navigate that accordingly.
But that's the point I was gonna make to you, bro. Like having a website that mirrors that PIF to an extent. But I think the key thing when I was listening to when you said that you had a strategy, there was data involved in it from the beginning. Most people don't even think like that, right? But when I look at everyone's background and I can see, I'm like, okay, it makes sense now what everyone's got in their career. But now being an executive and you have the record side of thing, how do you then now compute on people saying, nah, Kwabs, but listen, man, needs like 200 bags, bro. Because now you're an executive.
No, and do you know what? Yeah. So when I have them conversations, and I think, like I said, it's not only me. I'm having these conversations with the likes of Eddie and Kingsley, and then we just come to the conclusion where, and that's why I think having an effective team is important, because you can kind of balance off people. I might be like super, I believe in it, this is gonna go. One of them two might rein me down to earth, like, Kwabs, calm down, just calm down. And so I'll look at a deal now. If someone tells me they want 200 bags, I'm like, bro, I can't give you that. But if you can get that, congratulations, man. Do you know what I mean? I respect it. Go do your thing. And that's it. That's it, man. Like, if I can't afford it, I can't afford it. But I still wish the artist all the best, and I can kind of crack on from there. But you got and I think now in 2025, I'm looking in the industry. Like I said, there was about maybe 2 years ago, I used to pay subscription for the official charts. This is like, it's over like 3 bags a year.
3 bags a year.
Like, right? I'm paying for it. So I'm thinking the data I get from it, I could use this to benefit my community. I could use this to benefit the culture. I did my first chart that I did, like, for the whole quarter. I've downloaded it and I filled all the UK rap songs. I said, these are the UK rap charts for singles and for albums for this quarter, just to show everyone this is where our scene is at. I've emailed them to kind of endorse it. They've told me, like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Know that subscription got cancelled, G. That subscription got cancelled. So again, it made me, and then later on, fast forward, when we're seeing stuff like, and I remember what I said before, live is a very important component of any musician's career, right? When I've seen them shut down all the pop-up, so now when UK rappers are benefiting from pop-ups and D2C, and it's resulting in chart success, all of a sudden then you want to change the D2C rules. So in a way, I kind of fell out of love with the whole, even the charts. I don't look at them. They don't really mean much to them. This year, in 2025, one of the few independent labels in this country to be charted with a breakthrough rapper is Mixtape Madness. Do you understand? Again, like I said, on the PNC lines, you're not going to see Mixtape Madness's name there. Maybe if you see my Instagram story, you may have seen an accidental post here and there. But it's for that artist to look independent. But for me, the success wasn't the fact that the artist charted. It's the fact is, when he first came to Mixtape Madness 2 or 3 years ago, and his occupation was one where he couldn't do music full time, and the numbers were considerably low, and then seeing where he's grown to, phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? And I guess shout out to A&R at the time that brought that artist on board, you and
bro. Okay, so you see with the part of the official charts, because it's interesting, right? People will say, like, because there's that small person like, this information is not supposed to be out there, and I could think like, but why?
Exactly.
But why?
Why?
What do you think it is? Because
I honestly don't know, because till this day I'm confused. You pay a subscription fee, you access the data, you're not allowed to use the data to inform your ecosystem or your community. There's not exactly like loads of initiatives that are done to kind of bolster or help artists within our ecosystem. So I'm just like, maybe despite the fact that, and remember, since Tiny Temper up until now, I'm looking at like those last 15 years, what we've actually contributed to the UK music economy. My guy, if me myself, I'm talking about in excess of 10 mil, then really we're talking in the billions, right? And we're still not fully, I feel like we're still not fully embraced or accredited in the way that we should do. Like, Billboard shows them rappers bare love. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know why it is. I'm not gonna, make accusations or anything to that effect. People should read in between the lines and come to their own conclusions. But again, instead of challenging those situations in our community, what do we do? Instead, we just challenge ourselves. And we point fingers at ourselves, and we never hold these corporations to account in any way, shape, or form.
Bro, over 15 years is a long time, right? And people will extrapolate and think, okay, cool, so gross 10 million, right, through music, right? Not personally, but revenue being grossed that amount. The key things for me were one, it took around 7 years before things got to a certain point where
100%.
you can start fully commercializing.
100%.
So that's one thing. The other part is everyone in essence had a day job and you're still trying to figure it out. So
100%.
And then life really got real for you.
Yeah, definitely got real for me, boy.
But you had good credit, which allowed you to have access to resources.
Yep.
Which allowed you to invest in risk capital. But by that time, you've built up enough of a run of, I kind of get it. The only thing's missing is a bit of resources to push things forward. Then it's the part where the platform, cause I remember Mixtape, I remember the website changed a few times.
Yes.
I was like, okay, cool. I remember there was some revamps. So when you look at your business model now today, what kind of pipelines are there for the whole Mixtape Madness economy?
So I think the Mixtape Madness economy, there's brand partnerships. Mm-hmm. So people would have seen our size sessions. Mm-hmm. We're going to see some MM15 activations. People see content where we partner up with the likes of Adidas. Mm-hmm. There's still income stream from the YouTube channel. So the YouTube content is still an important business model. And then I guess there's almost a side of it that generates revenue off the DSP'S. Some people might define that as a record label. And what other income streams are there? I think those, in a nutshell, would kind of be the main ones. And like I said, I think the main trick that was missed was kind of live.
I remember there was a time when Link Up had a deal with Foot Asylum and they were doing a few live events. And I do remember there was a time and I was like, but it didn't last too long. I remember they done about 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, we know the economics in live is already, there's one giant player in the live space. And I think a lot of the artists that we're trying to champion at the time, due to police reasons and so on and so forth, are seen as very high risk. So putting on those live events were never going to be straightforward. So even though I feel it's a trick that we missed culturally, again, I know that there's bigger things in society that weren't exactly thrilled at the idea of any of us companies doing anything successful